Go way, way, way down. Well, I can't do it, but some shooters can. But that's not going to help you, because the lower you go, the lower your head goes. You want to stay up in sitting. Draw that left hand back. That rifle's right underneath your head. So extend those legs if you're going to shoot cross ankle. And if you draw the legs back a little bit like this, you get in what I call no man's land. Say it.
No man's land.
You're in no man's land. You're not in crossed-legged, and you're not in crossed-ankled. You're in no man's land, and then your legs are flopping around, and you're moving all around. So if you're going to shoot crossed ankle, you have to fully extend that forward leg. Get it out there and extend it so those legs will be solid. Because a lot of people try to get their elbows out and lock them in somehow. Well, you don't have concrete blocks behind your elbows when you shoot prone, do you? Your elbows just rest on the deck. That's all you really want to do, is be able to kind of like watch TV when you're shooting sitting. That's the same way, getting those elbows. So,
Grant Stingley has a good piece of the CFD website.
Yep, Grant Stingley has talked about this position exactly like this. So, if you look at Nate, he's got his forward leg extended. You want to make sure that the side of this boot is down on the deck. You want to make sure that this foot is firmly in contact with the deck. This right leg is drawn back. We're not in position yet. We're just positioning our legs. We're not in position our elbow yet. So we got our left leg down here just like that. We're making sure we got our legs fully extended and the right leg's back about boot top high. He leans forward at the hips. You know how you lean forward at the hips? Put your hand down on the deck and stick your butt out. And when you stick your butt out, it'll make you bend at the hips. If you just sit down and you don't put that hand down and stick your butt out, then you'll be bending at your waist. And that creates tension.
Ceasefire! Ceasefire!
Outstanding. We're not doing anything that we shouldn't do. Okay, so he bends forward at the hips, places that left elbow, make sure it's inverted. He takes the heel of that right hand, he drives that rifle up and puts it right underneath his head, right in close to his neck, as close as he possibly can. Now, I'm going to ask him to take the rifle out of his shoulder and draw that left hand back about 8 inches. And about 2 more inches. Outstanding. Then he's going to take the rifle and place it in his shoulder right up underneath his neck. When he comes in, and that puts his head right over the center line of bore. That left arm is virtually underneath the rifle as far as he's going to be able to get it. And his head's erect in a good position check. You Marines that are buddying up and soldiers and civilians that are working, you see that the shoulders are relatively level. He places that right elbow just inside and below that front knee. Now, if he wants to adjust his natural point of aim on the target, he can just simply walk forward on his buttocks a little bit. Do that. And that'll lower the muzzle of the weapon. If he wants to raise the muzzle of the weapon, he can walk backwards on his buttocks. But what happens if you walk too far forward on your buttocks? You'll end up in no man's land, and you'll lose the extension that you have on that forward leg. And that's very, very important there. So, and you notice that Nate's foot keeps coming up right there. That's a thing that he needs to work on. So if that happens to you, take that right foot and draw it back. The right foot, draw it back a little. Your other right, there you go. Draw that right foot back a little bit. Now, go in position like that. Because it's imperative that that forward foot is solid down on the ground like that. That left arm is right underneath the rifle, straight trigger finger, and his head is rock solid on the rifle. Now, if he needs to adjust his natural point of aim horizontally on the target or from left to right, all he does is takes the rifle out of his shoulder and he puts his hand down on the ground, and using his feet, he moves his buttocks left or right. So if the rifle's pointing out to the left a little bit, he puts his hand on the ground, he moves slightly toward that direction, toward the left, put the rifle back in his shoulder till he finds that natural point of aim on the target. Now, once he's satisfied that he's found his natural point of aim, his forward hand and arm is completely relaxed. It's not doing anything, it's dead. His head is completely relaxed on the comb of the stock. The only tension that he has is, what did I say, about a 5 or a 6 on the grip. If you grip it too hard, or you pull the rifle into your shoulder, or you press down with your head, you're going to make yourself have oscillations and movement. Now, once he has his position marked, he wants to mark his position if you're shooting cross ankle by making a mark right at the base of his crotch, right in the V, right where his crotch is. Now you can do it with a piece of brass, you can do it with some object like your magazine or whatever, but you know what I do. I put a big blob of spit right down there in between my legs, and when I stand up, if I drag my ass across it, I still have a wet spot that I can see. So on the firing line, shooter stand. Now when he stands up, no. He stands up, he's going to keep one or both feet in place when he stands up. What I normally do is I just unceremoniously uncross my left foot and I just stand up the best I can, keeping my muzzle elevated and pointed down range. Because I want to keep that extension on my legs. And I've got a wet spot back here on my mat that I can see. On the firing line, this will be the second stage of fire, 200-yard line rapid fire. Firing 10 shots in a 60-second time limit. On the firing line with a magazine, load. Is the line ready? The firing line is ready. Ready on the right, ready on the left, all ready on the firing line. He's standing there, and as soon as he sees that first target go up, he turns around and keeping that muzzle elevated and pointed down range, he looks for that mark. And he goes down watching that mark. With that muzzle elevated and pointed down range. Do that. He goes down and he positions himself over that mark, and he goes down in position right there, places the rifle in his shoulder. The first thing that he does is he'll make a minor adjustment if his natural point of aim isn't properly. He's going to make sure. He might walk forward or backwards on his buttocks to make sure that he's got that rifle with that forward hand completely relaxed, sitting right on his aiming point, either 6 o'clock or center mass, whatever he's using. He shoots his first shot, bang. After he shoots his first shot, he may make another adjustment if it doesn't come right back to that target. He may walk forwards or backwards or even bind a little bit left or right. Don't shoot if you don't come right back to your target with that forward hand relaxed. Make an adjustment before you go in. That's how you're going to start shooting those hundreds when you do that. If you just muscle that rifle back in, you'll shoot 5 or 6 X's and 2 wide 9s, and you'll wonder why that happened. It's because you're muscling the rifle. Okay, enough on that position. Let's talk about the more fundamental and the preferred position. The most stable position in sitting is crossed leg, especially if you're shooting an AR or you're shooting a match rifle that has a pistol grip. It's a really, really solid position. Let's do that. Now, a right-handed shooter always crosses left over right, and a left-hand shooter always crosses right over left in the sitting position. Right-handed shooter, left over right, left-handed shooter, right over left. Make sure you do that. So Nate is very flexible. He's a big man. He's got a distinct advantage over most shooters in that he dwarfs the rifle. Little guys like me with short arms, we can't handle a rifle as well as a big man can. So he crosses them left over right, and you'll notice that his knees are supported by his heels on either side. So it's virtually rock solid position that he has right there, but you have to be pretty flexible and somewhat short-waisted to be able to do it. I'm really a guy that's about 6'2", with legs that go on a guy that's about 4 feet tall. You got really short legs and a really long body, so I can't do that position. But he goes in position right there, and the fundamentals remain the same. He inverts that left elbow, he draws that left hand back. When you draw that left hand back, that brings that rifle right underneath your head, and your head is erect. I want you all to really work on get that hand back. All together, get that hand back. Louder. Get that hand back. In prone and in sitting. Get those hands back and start working on it. Usually if you want to draw your hand back, you might have to lengthen your sling. If your sling's too tight, it's going to mean that your hand has to go out too far. You're going to be what I call strung. You're going to be really tight sling with a low head position. And you're going to be moving like hell. loosen that sling up a little bit and draw the left hand back and come up and be erect right over the top of the rifle. And then you're just going to sit there and drive them right into the X-ring if you apply proper trigger control. Now, in this position, you don't have to mark your position. He finds his natural point of aim by drawing his left hand back a little bit. He can make a minor adjustment there. Even just moving that forward hand about a half an inch will take you from the bottom of the black to the top of the black. But you don't want to do it too far forward because then you become strung. You can also make an adjustment by just moving your buttocks back away from your feet a little bit. And that, when you move your buttocks back from your feet a little bit, that'll elevate your muzzle. And when you move your buttocks toward your feet, that'll lower your muzzle. So you can make some minor adjustments there. If he has to adjust his natural point of aim horizontally on the target, he does it the same way. Takes the rifle out of his shoulder, puts his hand down, and moves his ass left or right until he gets centered up. Once he's satisfied that he has his natural point of aim, on the firing line, your preparation period has ended. Shooters stand. This will be the second stage of the national match course. 200-yard line, rapid fire. Firing 10 shots in a 60-second time limit. On the firing line with a magazine, load. Is the line ready? The firing line is ready. Ready on the right, ready on the left. All ready on the firing line. Targets. Goes down in position, kept both feet in place. And if you can do that, you're well on your way. If you can't, just keep your right foot in place and uncross your legs and stand up. Some of you older guys aren't going to be able to do that, or you're going to dislocate your sacroiliac. Any questions at all on the sitting position? Anything at all? Any comments?
Rifle can't.
Sir?
Rifle can't.
Rifle can't. Outstanding question. Now, nobody should shoot with a cant. All together, nobody should shoot with a cant. Louder. Nobody should ever shoot with a cant. It's stupid. There's no reason to do it. If I go over in position and I have a cant to the right, like this, all I have to do is take my rifle and rotate the butt of the rifle to the left when I place it in my shoulder, and I'll straighten up. If I have one to the left, I place the rifle butt toward the right. So exaggerate that for me. Make a cant for me first. So he's got a cant. How many times do you see a guy shooting like that? Well, if he is shooting like that and he has to make a dope change, if he moves in elevation, that's going to move him both vertically and horizontally on the target. So you are a loser if you shoot with a cant. Don't do it. Stop it right now. So if you're canting to the right, just take the butt and place it in your shoulder in the opposite direction of your cant and work till you can get those rifle sights vertically. Altogether, nobody should shoot with a cant. There's no reason to do it. You can just rotate that butt in the opposite direction and you'll get squared away in a very short period of time. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding.
Another quick comment on that. A
Talk
lot
loud,
of times,
Joe.
yeah, a lot of times when you have that outboard cant, it's because your left elbow, the sling elbow, is outside of the gun and not underneath it. That's
Excellent
what causes
point.
that cant.
See how Nate's got his left elbow out there too far and it's not under the gun? That's the reason for his cant right there. If he would have inverted that elbow, that would have straightened that rifle up. Outstanding point, Joe. Let's have a big hand for my demonstrator, Nate Guernsey. For a minute, and then I'm going to let Joe come up. Standing is the most difficult position, and the reason why it's the most difficult position is because it's the most commonly misunderstood position. Standing, to me, is the most fun. I like shooting standing better than any other thing. Standing I like, then sitting, and then prone. Prone is where I sweat and I work my ass off. But standing is fun. But most people misunderstand standing because first off, they don't know how to correctly establish their stance. When you stand standing, the first thing you want to do is you want to stand with your feet approximately hip width apart. not shoulder width apart, hip width apart. If I put my feet shoulder width apart, then I'm standing on my insteps. I'm not standing squarely on my feet. I want my feet approximately the width of my hips when I stand, and I'm a little narrow-ass guy. I just really used to be little, now I'm just got a big fat hay bag. But I want my feet about the width of my hips, so I'm standing squarely on my feet. Now, when I stand up, I want to position my spine to where my hips are turned under. Is everybody familiar with turning their hips under? A lot of people think you stand up and then you lean back to shoot standing. It's the opposite. You stand up and rotate those hips under. How many of you know how to press the small of your back out and kind of like stretch it when your back's hurting? You ever felt that? When you press the small of your back out? That's how you do when you shoot standing. You turn that butt and those hips under. So you feel tension a little bit on your thighs right here. And when you turn those hips under like that, you'll feel tension on the front of your thighs, and you'll feel your abdominal area relax. It's kind of like, you know how inner city street rappers walk now? They go, what's up? What's up, dude? That's how you stand when you shoot standing. You stand just like that. You roll those hips under, and you stand up just like that. And then you're going to take that rifle, and you're going to stack it on top of your body. When you stack it on top of your body, you invert that left elbow right down the left side of your body, and you want it to come in contact. Now, many people take the rifle. What'd you do with my rifle?
Here.
After you're done with it. Many people will take a rifle standing, and they'll just simply put the rifle in their shoulder like this. And then they subsequently just lean back until they get on the target. They place the rifle in their shoulder like that, and then they lean back until they're on target. If you do that, you are gonna move. I guarantee you, you're gonna move for the rest of your natural life. You're never gonna get to where you have a reasonable position. But if you roll those hips under, and you stand up straight like that, and you take that rifle and you place it in your shoulder, and you let those shoulders drop. Shoulders drop like that. Suddenly you're going to be able to relax that forward hand completely. And all I have to do in this position is just hold the rifle in with my finger so it doesn't fall out. I'm literally stacking it right down on top of my body. My forward hand and arm is completely relaxed. And I've got very short arms. Now, how do you get that forward arm in that position? A lot of people say, well, I can't just let my forward arm relax here because I don't have any elevation. Just points down at the ground. So they pick it up and they do this. And they hold it out to the side. And then they've got a lot of movement. But what you really do is you use a little bit of controlled muscular tension initially. And when you first start working it, it's like you take a handkerchief and you're holding it in your armpit. You're just pressing against that handkerchief with your armpit. And you can adjust your natural point of aim or adjust the position of your forward arm to where your sights will be aiming over the top of the target, and you'll still be with that forward arm relaxed. You shouldn't have any problem with having elevation on that forward arm, because you want to get this hand as close to the center line of bore, right in front of that magazine. You want the back of your left hand to be pointing toward the target. You don't want it to be around to the side, and you don't want it to be the opposite side. You want the back of that forward hand to be pointing toward the target. Just like this. The left arm is right underneath the rifle, and the back of that forward hand is facing toward the target, and I curl my fingers naturally so I don't get them caught in the bolt. Because when you do, and many shooters, I'll have them take their glove off when they shoot standing. 40 years ago, most everybody did, and then they started wearing gloves. But most everybody didn't shoot standing with a glove on. They didn't put the glove on until they shot with a sling. I shot like that for 10 years. Anyway, I do shoot with a glove now, though, because I know where I'm going to position that hand. And so when I position that forward hand, instead of just going like this, when I hold it up, I just take my hand and go like this. Just like that. The rifle sits right in the V formed by the thumb and index finger. My hand and wrist are straight and locked. I'm completely relaxed. That left arm's up there and I'm holding that handkerchief in. Once you work on holding that handkerchief in like that, then you'll get into a position after a while where you'll do it subconsciously. You'll no longer have to consciously hold that handkerchief in. You'll just naturally settle right into position like that. Now, the last thing I want to say when you're shooting standing is get that rifle high in your shoulder and bring it in underneath your skull. If you've got the rifle out on your arm, go to the mirror at night and practice clapping, because that's what you're going to do. You're going to move. When that rifle gets out on your arm, your head goes over, and then you're going to have movement. Get that rifle right up underneath your skull, and then the last thing is you have to let those shoulders drop. Only the amount of tension on your right hand or on your strong hand that you're firing is all you need to support that right arm. You don't need to hold the right arm up in the air to form a pocket in your shoulder. That is a myth. Don't do that. Let that right arm and those shoulders drop. If you're using tension and holding your shoulders up, and many shooters do that, they hold their shoulders. You know how you do shrugs with weights? They'll do that. They'll tense their shoulders up when they're shooting standing. And if you tense those shoulders up when you're shooting standing, that is the M word. That makes you move. So you've got to let that left hand relax and let your shoulders drop and your hips are turned under. And once you start working on that, then you're going to be very still. You know that little Sergeant First Class we clapped for walking by? He looks vertically like he's going to fall over forward. When he shoots standing, he looks like this. So does Carl Bernowski. They do not look like this. They look like this when they're standing up because their hips are rolled under and they got what's called a stacked standing position. Say it. Stacked. Hips are under and that rifle's right like that. And you feel just a little bit of tension on your thighs. Joe Hendricks, come on up and I want you to talk by yourself about standing and how you do it, okay? Okay. Right now, you told me I had till 12. Hey, Dick, you told me I had till 12.
You can go to 12. I just want to set up.
Oh, okay.
Just pull our stuff off.
No, wait a minute. Here's what we'll do. It's 11:30 right now. I really appreciate all of you being out here. I particularly appreciate the active duty military out here because I think what you learn here, you're going to go back and communicate to your fellow Marines and you'll enhance the overall effectiveness of the Marine Corps in combat. And I love that rifle team. You're in my heart and you always will be. And I love the Army team too. You're the people that make this country strong and free. And without you, we wouldn't have CMP matches. We wouldn't have NRA matches. We wouldn't live in a country with the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. So I'm very proud of all of you out here participating in this competition and arms program. And it's an honor to be able to teach marksmanship to you. Good luck and good shooting from Remington.